Easy, how are we?
Johnny.
Big man, we are breaking protocol again this week. I am giving another news update. And we don't do news updates on this show, but we're doing a news update today. So I was reading the Irish Times. Actually, no, I just saw a link online about it and I popped up and I had my interest. I don't know if you've probably heard about this. I say a lot of people listen to the podcast have heard about this. But I'll read the open paragraph on it. It's a member of the anti-corruption unit of the Garda has returned the medal he received for completing last month's Dublin City Marathon after it emerged that he may have travelled a significant portion of the 26-mile course on the Lewis. So the article goes on. He gave back his medal and his T-shirt. In the first half of it, he was on track to do it in 4.5 hours. If you take a second half alone, he was on track to do a marathon in 2.5 hours. He clearly messed up the time, but the real reason I want to bring that up is I saw on Twitter they're naming him online Carl Lewis, which I thought was just absolutely brilliant.
Oh, my God. But, like, that was on the 6-1 News on RTE. Like,
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just, like...
He's off duty. He did what he did. Like, he got caught. Like, it's not a big deal.
But, like... I'm sure there's plenty of people that do it. And I don't really care because he has to look at that medal and know what he did. You know, like, he didn't win the race. He didn't corrupt or get to the Olympics. He got a T-shirt and a medal that he actually paid for because it's a not-for-profit race. So fuck, just take the medal and piss off. But, like, you can imagine the scenarios. One of the lads says, "No way you're going to do it in 4 hours, you fat fuck." And he's like, "Oh, yeah."
He must have had a side bet on or something to do it. But, like, I don't get the point in doing it. It's like...
it was just to piss off the mates or to prove something or impress a girl or I don't know.
Was it on the 6-1 News?
I swear, yeah.
Not one of the main stories, though. Surely it would be more important things to talk about.
It was part of in other news. I seen it on the news, because I actually had to say there's no way that was on the news, and they were like, swear to God, they're just not talking about it there. I was like, oh my God.
Oh wow, I thought it was just a sidebar thing that was like in a small column on a paper, just to fill a bit of paper.
Well, they did it.
Here, a guy did this, guy cheated.
It was a sidebar on the news. It wasn't like an in-depth report, but it was
we've only got like a 30 minutes to fill in content what's going on around the world, and one of it's on a guy who took the Lewis during a marathon. Yeah, it's a pretty crappy thing to do, but like he's not really affecting everyone except himself. Like,
nah.
Like,
it's like I just think it's the irony of it because it's the anti-corruption.
Yeah, it's a funny story, but not main news. Like, it's,
you know what? And he probably, now in fairness, the Dublin Marathon crowd probably investigate. Like, who even looks into that kind of shit? Like,
the only one thing I've heard before, I saw a short documentary on this, and by short I mean like a 7-minute thing ESPN did. There's this guy in America who does it for if you qualify for the Boston Marathon, and that I can understand because you're taking someone else's spot who's tried to train for something. Yeah. So the guy's got under 3 hours, and he will investigate certain people's numbers that came up too fast and stuff like that, and like, something's not adding up here, something's not right. But it's very easy able to investigate that one because you just see the splits for one half, the splits for the other. It's probably an Excel spreadsheet. You hit one button to see the difference between the first half and the second half just for their own stats, and like, hang on, someone went from a 10-minute mile to a 6-minute mile. Something is not right here in the first half and the second half. Something clearly went wrong. But like, even to do that, would you not just hang around somewhere near the end? Or obviously, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't get why you think you would do that. Like, I suppose he thought, who's going to look into this?
Yeah, as in, and that's exactly it. He just said, fuck this. I'm not going to be able to do this, but I paid me money, I'll start it. And then got to a point and said,
couldn't walk the rest.
Fucked. I get to lose and just finish this fucking thing and go home. Like,
can you imagine just handing back the T-shirt as well?
And like, where do you go?
He was on the base for that all day. What's that?
Where do you go to hand it back in? Like, where's Dublin Marathon headquarters? Like, do you just walk back into the RDS and just leave it on the doorstep? Sorry, I just comes up this
right. At the Irish Life Bank, I've got a deposit to make. It's a medal and a T-shirt.
But like, you paid for it.
He paid for it. He did pay for it, yeah. He seemed he apologized, but maybe some people listening to this going, guys, you need to take this a lot seriously. But for me, I'm like,
no.
I like.
Sorry.
I'm
Like,
sorry. He got caught or
you know,
whatever. Like, it's a funny story. The Carl Lewis thing is great, but
you're taking an Olympic medal off someone because you've taken.
now we're talking. Yeah.
Now we're talking about cheating in sport. If it's a marathon where you get a medal for just showing up essentially and crossing the line, it doesn't matter. Like, it's people's pride.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing about a marathon is self-pride. Do you know, like, and that's
like,
that's
I didn't look at the marathon going, I don't even know where I came to marathon, let's say 2,000 or 5,000 or 6,001 going, I could have been 6,000 bang on the button now, but that one extra person got ahead of me. Or I don't look at it at my time compared to your time. It's completely irrelevant, your time to my time. It's like we different goals, different times. And then I just put it out there a couple of years ago, you got much faster than I did. People on different journeys, whatever. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. It's all yourself, unless you're near that top 10 bracket or stuff where money starts coming into it. And the double marathon, they're not going to pay either of us anytime soon for any of our marathon races anyway.
Yeah, but maybe for a few marathon plans if they're listening. So but like on that, look, it is a marathon when you're not in the top 20 or 30. You know, a marathon is it's just personal bests is all it is. And unfortunately, he didn't do his personal best that day. But he would have had the medal and the t-shirt to remind him of that. So, you know, like, I don't think you need to become mainstream news and being talked about. To be honest, like, he probably just had the crack and just fuck it, just do what he had to do.
It wasn't my day, and he hopped on Lewis. And you know what? Fair play. If people listen, fair play to people. I actually saw one or two posting this on the day that like got to the halfway and had different injuries, or whatever, and ended up walking the rest of it just to finish. And that something like that is absolutely class, because I could run that marathon, but if you asked me, I had to walk the whole thing. I don't think I could have the mental capacity to keep going for that long doing it. So those that do it kept grinding out. Fair play. The guy gave back his medal and t-shirt. Yeah, move on.
Move on.
On that note, we'll hit the intro music this week's episode of the Any Given Runday Podcast. Let's go. Easy.
Shawnee.
I have to tell you, there's a vicious rumor going around that on our Instagram there's a reel done. At the start of it, you see your face, and then I'm going to call you out on it. It looks like you got a stunt double for the rest of the race.
Yeah. I spent today just recording my brother's near-death experience, to be honest.
So this is the Westport Sea2Summit, by the way. I didn't get it from the title. I should have said that after the intro music. But Westport Sea2Summit, you went with your brother down there. You went with Ozzy Doyle, who's been on the podcast before. A couple of other people as well. How did you get on? Talk us through it.
Well, look, Sea2Summit came up. I forget when the tickets went on sale. Probably in the summertime-ish, I think. And at the time, I said it to my brother. I was like, "Do you want to do it? Like, it's a good one. We'll do the long course. It's hard." And he was like, "Yeah, let's go for the challenge. Yeah, challenge."
And what is the long course?
I don't know the distance. I know. No, like I can describe the distances and we can probably add it in. The reason being, I don't know what it is up and down Crowpatrick. I think it's around, my watch said around 7K or whatever. I think it's about 59K or something. You know, Okay, so it's a 4K run to start. Right. This is for the Supreme. I'll go through both, right? So anyone who hasn't done, it's Westport Sea2Summit. It is one of my favorite races. One, because it's the last thing I do in the year. Probably why it's my favorite one. And I've had different experiences with different races and different pains. And but this, anyway, so we'll go through. So there's two. There's the Spirit level, and then there's the Supreme. So everyone starts in the same place, in the middle of Westport, just at the Castle Court Hotel, I think it is. And then you make your way 4 kilometers run along the Greenway to your bike. So you drop your bike 4 kilometers away. And then you get on your bike. It's about an 8 kilometer cycle to Crowpatrick. So everyone is doing the same up until then. And then you get up to the shoulder of Crowpatrick. Okay. It's called the shoulder. Just kind of 2 distinct peaks. There's one, and then it kind of levels off. And then you have to go up another peak to get to the top. Right. So on the Spirit one, I think it's called Spirit or Sprint. We'll say Spirit. When you get there, you turn around, you head back to your bike, you cycle the same way you came, and then you run back to where you started. So that's it done. Once you get up to the shoulder, you're done. You're pretty much heading home then.
Okay.
On the Supreme, you get to the shoulder, you continue into the clouds, and you go all the way to the top of Crowpatrick. So there's another couple of 100 feet climbing. And then you touch the church at the top, you turn around and you make your way back down. When you get back onto your bike, you take a left turn instead of going right, which is, we'll get back to that story, and then you proceed on it's about 35 kilometer cycle around the backside of Crowpatrick. And it has, I think I showed about 500 or 600 meters of climbing over the cycle as well. So there are some serious hills. The majority of people will walk up some of these hills because they're just so constant and steep. They're steep hills. And then you've just climbed the mountain as well, which a lot of people don't do. They don't usually climb mountains and then go on a long cycle. So it does have that factor in it. And then once you complete that long cycle, you're essentially back on the course with everyone else. And you will do your 4K run back to the house, essentially. And then you finish in the same place. Everyone finishes in the same place. So yeah, I'm going to say about 1,500 people, maybe 1,000 people. I can't quite put a number on it, but lots and lots of bikes and lots of people. So
I think I read 1,500, and Westport's very small, so this must take over, like you down there Friday afternoon or Friday evening. It must take over the entire town, similar to like the triathlon.
Yeah, kind of similar. Like when this race is going off, like it does, like there is a good bit of congestion with traffic and stuff. Like it is quite busy for the town, especially with the volume of people and all of those people with their supporters. And, you know, like it is good. It's fantastic for the town. It's a great little town for an event like this. The afters is phenomenal. The before is good as well. Over the last couple of years, I think this is our fourth one. Third or fourth, thereabouts. Because of COVID, I can't remember. but I've always had complaints of other years about how things were organized with bike drops and this. I think this year, though, they've done a fantastic job. It's brilliant. The bike drops were just open. So registration was open really early. Bike drops were open till late. The traffic just flowed so much easier with it. People could get parking nearby. The registration was a one-way system, really smooth. It was just, it was just really, really good. Really, 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 really well done. And while we're talking about it, from the bike collection then was really well done. The staff for the after parties and stuff were all waiting for people to just give a bit of proof that they did the race, and they were and kicking them into the party. Like, you know, it was really, really, really good. Good vibes around the whole thing. Like everyone was there for a good time, no matter what level they were doing, except for my brother.
I have a feeling, we haven't talked about this yet, but I have a feeling the way your brother got on is going to give us flashbacks to how you got on Quest, which sounds like a similar distance from a couple of months back. How did it go?
Yeah, he had the exact same experience I had in Quest. It's probably the best way to put it. We started off with the run, 4K run. We kept the pace at about a 6-minute pace, which is really comfortable. 5 of us started together, and we got down to the transition. Everything was going nice. We got on the bikes. I kind of just got him set up and then sent him off while I got my extra bits together and put the food on the bike. All that, you know, I was just doing extra things. I knew I'd catch him fairly quick. So I let him off, and then we were about turn first corners, about 500 meters around the second corner. We're just coming up to about a kilometer mark, and then it was raining and there's a lot of spray and stuff, and I was like, and I could just see this high vis pulled in up ahead, and I was like, oh no, don't be Mark. And I had to just lift up my glasses, and I was like, oh no, it fucking is.
He was only waiting on you, right?
yeah, it's just waiting on him, mate. But we got up to him, and he had a puncture in the front tire. It was obviously a slow puncture that was on it. So we spent the next 10 minutes, because I hadn't got the one little bit of kit I hadn't got for anyone who's changed tires before. There's a little plastic thing, the rim tool that just pulls the rubber outside. I hadn't got that, so I was using like Allen keys and everything to change the tire. So about 10-15 minutes, and he had the worst pump in the world. It was like, it was like party popper. It was that size. It was tiny. It was like convenient, but shit. It was just, so anyway, we put a bit of air into the tire, and then we eventually made our way dead last. Dead last.
Bet miss cut-offs again, huh?
Oh my God. So we got to Crow Patrick, his tire half pumped. He was absolutely bollocks by the time he got to the bottom of the hill. So,
and just to cut back a second, how much training has Mark done for this? Just to clarify,
he hasn't been on a bike in 7 years.
Oh, you're going uphill a half-foot bike. Was he wearing the cleats or anything for it? What kind of bike was it?
Just had his runners on. He borrowed the bike off the brother-in-law. So
just a little BMX or something with stabilizers.
See, he had his own hybrid bike, but he borrowed the racer bike. But sure,
okay.
Brother-in-law hasn't used that in 2 years, so the thing was in shite. But anyway, we
never serviced or nothing.
No, we ragball rover stuff, but we got there, right? So we got to the base of the hill, and like, I don't know why, but every time we passed, like, I felt bad because they stopped traffic, or any of the race marshals. I'd be like, sorry, we got a puncture. We're not just really shit.
Please let us keep going.
It'd be like heavy set men and women ahead of us, like, in 15 minutes behind them. I was like, oh no. So,
did you feel the pressure to catch up now, or are you at this stage? No, it's just like you're in it now.
At this point, I probably would have turned around and went to the pub, but he was there for a good time, and I was like, right, let's go. So we got to the base of the hill, and the worst bit about it was, as you look up, I could see the like fluorescent jackets of other racers,
right? And
they're already like a quarter of the way up, and it's like, we've so far to catch up with to not be last. So yeah. So we took our time. We kind of ran the first bit of the hill. For those who know it or those who don't, Crow Patrick is fairly rocky. And in terms of adventure, if you're not at the start of the first wave, you're going to find yourself in behind a few people. And luckily in the Supreme, at the top of the first wave, a lot of those people tend to be fitter, so they move a bit quicker. But you kind of get sucked into single file walking up the hill anyway. So I just told him that. I was like, look, there's nobody in front of us, so we don't have the excuse, but just take your time. So we got about a quarter into a halfway, and we ended up catching our first people. I was like, this is magic. We're not last. Yeah, that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered to us, because they had a 15-minute head start, so it was actually a bit of pride. So
if you hadn't seen that, you're probably looking for your nearest Lewis to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing about Westport. They took out the trains and put them into fucking greenways, so you have to cycle everywhere. So so his lower back was really struggling, and that stems from one, not training. So he's doing a little bit of gym work, a little bit of sea swimming, the odd jog here and there, but office work, sitting in a chair, not activating glutes, not doing hamstring stretches, not going for a run, and walking up a hill. Like, you're using muscles you just haven't dreamt about using in a while. Like, so his lower back was screaming at him, absolutely screaming at him. So I had no sympathy. So we were walking up, but like, I tried to get into the mentality of him. I was like, look, just pick a target. So you see the mountain rescue people, right? Don't look up until you're beside them. And when you get to them, just turn around and lean back. It's like, take the pressure off your back. Don't lean into the hill, because your legs are still firing the same way. Turn the opposite direction, lean back, and I just enjoy the view. I was like, we're fucked now. It's like, we're in it now. So you just have to endure it. So just do what you can. Just pick next step. So we got up as far as the shoulder. I wanted to make sure he was still all right as we were coming over the shoulder. And then it flattens out. I was going to try and shuffle it, but we were under pressure. So we just walked. And at this point now, everyone is coming past us. And we got to the shoulder part, and the lads, Ozzy, Duff and PJ, were coming back past us before before we even looked up to climb into the cloud. And Ozzy runs past, and he's like, geez, lads, it's grand. I think you're after moving the church down a few hundred feet. You'll be all right.
That false hope.
So we began to climb up the hill, and again, I just kind of had it in my head, because as soon as you went into the cloud, it was fucking freezing and the wind was strong. And I just kind of said, I was like, look, I'll wait for you at the top, because I kind of just wanted to get into a rhythm myself and just walk up. But you couldn't see 10, 20 feet in front of you. You just see a high vis starting to come towards you, and you kind of maneuver around each other, like, it was just because you're in clouds, it's just a whiteout, so. And
it'd be worse than you to slow yourself down, because I think, like, you get out of rhythm and stuff, you'd end up finding a lot harder than you should find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why when it came to little parts like that, like I knew going up to the shoulder, it was what it was. You just kind of walk up. But then on that part, it's kind of step. Now, I'll give one thing as well, that those who work on Patrick, they've changed the top and they've put a lot of work into making steps. It used to be just loose rock and shale. But they've actually put in these rock steps all the way, and it's an absolutely brilliant job. And fair play to them, because like I don't know who climbs up there every day to put in these things, but fair play. Like, and it's a great job they're doing. It's just brilliant. It's really good. But anyway, I climbed up, got to the top, just chilled out, explained to the people there why this really athletic looking man was getting to the top behind all these older men. And I was like, look, we had a puncture, I swear.
Half out of breath. Yeah, we believe you, pal.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Mark comes along and I just kind of hit out of the wind just to kind of stay moderate anymore. Mark comes along, got to the top, and I kind of felt bad because they're like, you all right now? Yeah. Okay, come on, let's go. So going down was nice. He actually took off a bit like a mountain goat in the steeper ones. I kind of had the attitude of not getting injured before I broke cloud, because a helicopter wasn't coming for me in that cloud. So I was like, nah, I'm going to really take my time. And then I got a bit excited over the flat part, and I actually went sideways on my foot. And it's quite swollen and black. It could be in the metatarsal area. I'd say it was a bang, but anyway, it's grand. And it was on the flat part, which is really annoying. But yeah, then I went down the hill, but then everyone is doing the spirit then has started, and they're starting to turn around. So you're coming down the hill with hundreds of people. Like, it's cool. It's good fun. You're back involved in a race again. And yeah, all the way down. I met a few other people on the way down and chatting and waving and trying not to fall. And, you know, a few people go flat in their face and stuff because they just stop paying attention. But it's really good. It's really enjoyable because you come down obviously in half the time you go up. It is the enjoyable, and it does give you that false sense of security. And I said to Mark, I was like, look, when we get to the bottom, I was like, I think we might just turn right and head back. And I met Ozzy and I was like, if you wouldn't mind, pump his tire, because when I get to the bottom, if his tire is flat again after you've pumped it, we're just heading back. We're not going out onto the long route, because I knew what was coming. And I tried to explain to him what was coming, but he wasn't buying it. So obviously, he spent the last 40 minutes coming downhill. So he's feeling great. He's like, oh, this is great. Loads of energy. Yeah. Let's do it. I was like, are you sure you don't want to go right now? Like, I was like, this is hard. Like, this cycle is not easy. He's like, no, we're going to finish this. And I was like, I admire it. I kind of felt bad for trying to talk him out of it. Because, you know, he was in the hurt locker already.
Yeah. And maybe keep going.
Yeah. But to be honest, like climbing Patrick and all that, that's grand. This cycle after doing that is not.
What is this cycle? I think I saw on your Strava. Am I right saying this is 30 plus? Is that not?
Yeah. 35.
It is 35. I thought I saw 35, right?
Yeah. So when we take the left turn and we're a kilometre in, he's feeling good. We're having a giggle. He's back 2 kilometres in. The back starts hurting again and everything else. And as you hit that 2 kilometre mark-ish, just beyond it, maybe, I can't remember the exact figures, you take a left turn. It goes up a hill for about 1.5 kilometres. You just climb a hill. And then you get to the top of the hill. And that's where that video is brilliant. It makes it look like a fucking pro athlete.
Yeah. Because it looks like the wind and all is right in your face trying to go up that hill. Like, and you see him struggling but pushing forward. It looks class, doesn't it? Yeah,
the hill prevails from the west. And it was an easterly wind for the bit where you really needed it to be on your back. Like, it was just, it was so bad. So anyway, that was the first hill, and then you descend down. That's where you seen in the video is the fast descent. So he descended down. Now he is hurting bad. His back is sore. The bike is not playing ball. Everything is shit. And there's 33 kilometers left. So he descends down this hill, has great crack, full throttle. Off he goes down the hill, and I catch up with him now and climbing the next hill, and he kind of crest another hill. And we caught another person, another couple of people. I was like, yay, we're not totally lost, And then as you kind of crested back, the visibility was good enough that you could see all the way into the distance. And I was like, see that hill up there? I was like, yeah. And do you see the road going to the top of it? And he was like, yeah, that's where we're going. And he was like, fuck off.
You broke him. You broke him.
So, and there's a few little climbs before you even get to that part. And,
what are you doing to him?
There's a few
His mind must have been shot. You have no empathy.
This is where I said to him, bet you wish you turned right when we get back there. Oh, you just go on. Getting all sorry. I'm holding you back. Shut up, come on. So when I got to that segment, I'd made a bet with Tom Dixon. He told me I'd have to walk up the hills, and I told him I'd cycle up every one of them, and winner or loser buys the pint. So when we got to the base of the hills, I said, Mark, I'll see you at the top. I have a wager here.
You have to go for it.
Yeah. So I headed off up the hills, casual as you like, and it was kind of a godsend that I was with Mark at an easy pace, so energy in abundance.
Great for the wager.
Yeah, it was really good. So cycling away, and then there was one little part, because it's been 3 years and I couldn't really, and my last day out, it wasn't a great one. I was carrying a knee injury, so I wasn't really having a good day. And I just seen there's an ambulance parked at like this peak, and I was like, that's it, that's the end. So I was like coming up, smiling at the lads. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get a pint. Yep. Turn the corner, same again. I was like, oh no. And this is the thing. Normally when you crest a hill, you've got a bit of a downhill to kind of recover. You couldn't. I just had to put my gears. But as soon as I seen what was coming next, I was like, uh-oh. So I just changed into my lower gear, the lowest gear, to just climb slower. So I could actually just recover as best I can on a reasonably smaller climb than what was coming. And I could see everyone. I passed a lot of people walking, and like they were all looking at me cycling by, like cruising up the hill, coming from last position. They're like, what the?
He's still with it.
I win the fucking thing. So and then got to the last 50 meters of this hill. There's a lot of people walking here, and I was churning and churning. And then I got to 40 meters, like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And then I just thought to myself, I was like, fuck him, I'm getting that pint. So all I had to think about, and it was the only thing, I was like, I'm fat enough that if I just get my knees over my toes, the pedal will turn. And that's all I did. I literally just dragged my knee forward. I changed the muscles I was using and just used my fingers to get up and over the top of the hill. And when I got over the hill, your man was like, Jesus, fair play. I've been watching you coming up there and all this. Like, thanks very much. I might get sick in the ditch here now in a few seconds. I was just sipping on the water and shoving Henry Hippos into me and just like, whoo.
What you need?
My heart rate went into the 180s, yeah.
This must be some hill.
Like these hills, these are no joke. Now, to be fair, in the real event, I wouldn't have stopped. The reason I stopped is because I was waiting on Mark.
Yeah.
Huge descent afterwards. I could have just recovered, drank, been rolling. Yeah. So, but yeah, and that's when I got the video of him coming up that hill. And in fairness to him now, he did walk a few of them, but he got on when he could. And when he seen me, I roared down and I was like, this is the last hill. And he got on the bike and he worked like a dog to crest the top of the hill on the bike, which was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Absolute cameraman. Because as soon as you see in the camera, you get on the bike. No, I'm only joking.
I do the same.
Well, no, in fairness. And that was the hardest one. And it is. And he crested the hill on the bike, which is really, like, it's nice considering how much he is suffering. Like, so
at that stage race,
yeah, we come down the hill and we descend down the big descent. We're cruising into wind, so you're kind of pedaling downhill, which is really annoying. And we kind of go into this no man's land. And then Mark goes to me, that's class. We must be about 25k in now. I look at my watch, 12. I was like, yeah. So he's really in the hurt locker. So then
did you tell him?
Yeah, I did. I said,
you're right. You set him straight.
Yeah, you're only 12k in. I was like, you've a long way to go. I was like, but look, the climbs are not as bad as that. I said, it's just kind of rolling hills from that. And there is a couple of climbs, but nothing compared to what you've done. Right. So when we're coming down the hills, he tries to click into the highest gear, just to get the extra whoosh so he can climb up the far side.
Yeah.
Clicks into the highest gear. Whatever's going on with the bike, chain slips off.
Oh my God.
He has to stop at the base of every hill, put the chain back on, and then start from fresh trying to climb the hill. It happened 7 times. never got to gain speed going down any of the hills. So he didn't get any advantage of climbing any hill, because anytime he tried to change into the higher gear to get the higher speed, he was absolutely fucked.
He should have went right.
Yeah, he should have went right. So anyway, big time in the hurt locker. So we just kick on. I just kept going. I said, like, I didn't, yes, I waited for him, but the way I did it for me, he was getting annoyed that I was not pushing on, but any hill I came to, I got into my rhythm, because you can't go with someone else's rhythm up.
No,
I just got into my own rhythm. I crested it. I crested the hill, and once I crested the hill, I didn't pedal. I rolled until I nearly came to a stop. I just let the bike and gravity take me until the next time I needed to pedal. So I didn't use any of the advantage. I just climbed every hill and rolled down, climbed every hill, which gave him enough time to pedal after me and stuff. So he kind of stayed with me, in fairness. And then on the last little phases, I kicked on through. So he growled and grinded, and he barked and nearly cried his way through. And at one point we were coming down the road, and I just, we were getting a bit of momentum. We were doing 40 kilometers an hour, and I was like, yeah, he's feeling the speed now. I was like, look, this might get through, good road. We turned onto the good road, and the chain clicked off again. I was
God.
Yeah. It was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. All that momentum, come to a stop, fix the chain, go again. So he's well pissed off and sore at this stage. So anyway, we get to the end, transition, and we start off in the run, and he is in pain. His shoulders, between his shoulder blades are sore, his lower back is sore, his knees are sore, and you're 4K to run. So that's when we introduced the scout pacing, and it's just target setting. So I just said, do you see that bin down there? Yeah, okay, we're going. Let's go. And shuffle. We meet the bin, stop, just walk.
Right.
And then when you're going along the greenway, it was lamppost to lamppost. So it was every 5 lampposts we're going to run. And then we ran for 5, walked for 5. And we just kept trucking along till we get back, and then he crossed the finish line. But yeah, he was in the hurt locker.
How was he afterwards? He was a good bit. The hurt locker afterwards, was he ecstatic? Was he like, oh my God, that was done, just sore?
Do you know what? It was a very proud moment from crossing the line, because he's been through a bit, but mentally, the fights, I know the fights I've had on bad days.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had fights like that in a long, long time in his own head.
To overcome that's a big deal.
It's a big, big deal. It's a serious sense of resilience with all this stuff that's been thrown at you, the bike, the weather, the wind. The wind picked up for us more than it did for the crowd earlier, because it got stronger as the day went on and stuff. And it was just, for him, it was just that absolute resilience was absolutely brilliant. Like, it was a serious sense of pride crossing it, but he was also like, I'm never doing that again without training.
The without training part's key. So do you think he'll sign up next year?
He said, I'm going for it next year. For it next year. And he's going to do the Supreme. And I think next year, I wanted to take him around on that, because I carried all the equipment. I carried the spare too. I wanted him as light as possible. I carried all extra food, all extra water, because there was nothing for me to carry the weight on the bike. But it could make a big difference for him up a few of the hills. But yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic event. Now listen, he should have been doing the Spirit with that kind of level of training. He would have done the Spirit and probably really enjoyed it. Then he would have been less sore, but worked hard, had a few fights with himself, got to the finish line, and been on the beer and saying, this was great, all around great experience. And that is why 1,200 people do that race and only 300 do the other one.
Oh, it's that big of a difference. Wow.
Yeah. The cycle after Crowpatrick is no joke. It is not easy. Especially after cyclists will do it and they'll be like, cycle's not too bad. It's like, it's not too bad if you haven't been running and climbing a mountain. So it is no joke. It's mental toughness up hills. It is a decent cycle. It's a very decent cycle. So, but yeah, we always do it like every year. I'm like, just do the shorter course, Eric. You'll be done in 2 hours and you'll be having a great time. I get an hour extra in bed. It's a shorter course. You're finished by 12. You have all the extra time to have a pint, do whatever. But no, every time I go to click the button, it just goes Supreme. Every time.
Well, the pints will taste much better after them. And the other thing he should have done, which surprisingly I did do this year before the Ring of Kerry, was getting the damn bike serviced.
Yeah. It's look, probably everything was a rush job. I was kind of not paying attention to his kit and equipment. You know, it was kind of something he said to me afterwards, like, fucking hell, you have everything. Because I had like a little snood for him to wear, a high-vis jacket that was light enough that he could wear all day just to keep the wind and rain off him. I had little things, a spare pair of gloves on my back. I had this gizmo, that gadget, this bit of food. He was like, how do you have all this stuff? I was like, because I've made all these mistakes over the last 18 events. So I was thinking more about the personal wear. I didn't really care about the bike. And then we swapped last minute, and but we pumped the tires, but you leave your bike overnight. So
you're not thinking at that stage. It's like he sorted out his actual bike. Like,
yeah, it's obviously slow punctured, and by the time we got back to 24 hours later, the bike was the way that was flat. Like, so yeah, so but yeah, it was so like there was a lot of little things, and the one little tool I forgot, and I knew I forgot, and I was supposed to ask someone if they had it, was that bit to remove the tire, and we would have changed the tire in 5 minutes then, you know, but I had to get creative with what we had, but
he was all right for the session that night, because like you said earlier, Westport is more than just the event itself, because you're obviously going down the Friday, because it's not a drive you're going to make before the Saturday morning of the race, and then you're there that night, and they do a big is it an awards event or something that night in the hotel? What happens there? Is that a separate thing? Or
look, I know they organize a good evening and they put on food in the evening, and I won't discredit for anything, but I won't comment on it because we don't do it. There's 14
do your own thing.
There's 14 of us that go every year. So right, we have a crowd, you know, like we have an Airbnb we stay in, we know the taxi man's number, we have a routine. And by the time we get back and have our showers, we have our beers in the house, like we'll stick around the town itself for the hour or two afterwards, then we get our bikes, then we head back, because we're moving cars and getting bikes and stuff, there's too much logistics, and then we all kind of just chill out, and then we go in about 8 or 9 o'clock and we go to a few of the other bars, and then we make our way down to the Castle Court that night. So we have our routine, unfortunately. But
it works. I mean, there's 14 years together, and the routine works, and you make sure you've got that big group together everywhere you go, which is the main team. You do something like that weekend. But it sounds like a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, when we get back and we're having all the food and we're telling all the stories of the car, especially with me and Mark, like it was an absolute circus. But a lot of people find it hard to get off work and to come down late on Friday. So this was the first time I took the Friday off. I did swear after the last time I wasn't dealing with the traffic or doing anything like that again. But it was the first year. I don't know what was different, but if they do listen, keep doing what you're doing, because I took the day off. We drove down early. I got there as registration opened, and I had my bike and all at the location, from registration into the location, and I was back at the house within 1 hour.
Brilliant.
So from getting there, doing all these drops between two locations and getting back to the house, which is just outside Westport, we'd done all that in an hour, and it was absolutely brilliant. Same with bike collection. It was nicely staggered and organised. I was able to collect my bike, get through Westport town, no major traffic snags, and get out of there, because we were all dreading it when we were sitting in his house, like, oh no, let's go collect these bikes. It's going to be a nightmare. But it was actually well run, well organised, good flow to traffic. And I was on the way back towards the house with a chipper 40 minutes after I left it, you know, like, so it was really, really well done. And it's the best I've seen it organised. And the volunteers are absolutely amazing. And the bit that they didn't probably realise, like, Mark was 6th last, 7th last. I don't know how many people we passed, right? But the enthusiasm they showed him as he was setting off on a run or coming in from the cycle, they're like, yeah, well done, keep going. After doing that for 2,000 others for 6 hours, but still on his own gave him the same treatment and the same hoorah. And it was just brilliant. They're really good. For the people who were at the top of Crowpatrick, standing in misery, in a cloud, in wind, in rain, and they've walked up there just to tag people and make sure everyone is safe in dangerous parts of the hill. Absolutely amazing. The mountain rescue teams that are there, the Order of Malta or St. John's Ambulance who volunteer in the day, like, it's absolutely brilliant. It is a great event, and it's so much fun. And the crowds that come to, like, the town itself, like, I've had nights out in many parts of the world, but like anything, it's like the biggest triathlon kind of event. You have a lot of people on the same mentality, people who wanted to do something, but you can also tell they've done the event because at 10 o'clock you just see legless people because they're just not able to come here. But it's just amazing. There's just a really, really good buzz around the town. You can tell who's done the event because there's just a different atmosphere around them, and it's just absolutely amazing. It's just good fun. And like that, like I made a deal with the body, and I felt the tiredness today. I didn't feel tired after the marathon, didn't feel tired after Mizzen to Malin really, but I drove to work today, and I left at 6 this morning, came after doing it. I got into work, and once I was set up, I wasn't okay. I was a little bit tired in the car and stuff. Just dark driving, you're just kind of tired anyway. I'd done an event, obviously, but we got set up here, and I just kind of was sitting here, and it was just like my body just said, "Oh, it's Christmas now," and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm tired now," but not in a bad way, not in a dysfunctional way. It's just I've made a deal with the body, and this is always the last event, and it's just like I know now, and it just shows how mental it is.
It's the end of the year thing for you. That's it.
Yeah, but it is a fantastic event. If those haven't done it before, I'd recommend get a group of friends and just go for it. There's Airbnbs out there. There's everything you want. It's a busy town. But it is so much fun, and it's such a good atmosphere. And there's a reason we go back year on year, and it's absolutely amazing. I would highly, 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 highly recommend it anyway. And you know what? When you think about Quest, this is as hard as Quest. It's a bit more on the long route, on the Supreme. Now I'm talking. It's as good as in terms of what's expected of you on the cycles and up the hills. It's as good as, like, it's substantial, like. So, and for the price to do it at, I'd rather do that than do Quest. I know that's terrible to say, but you get so much more value for money out of this one.
I suppose that when we finished again the lock, we literally just, an hour, less than half hour later, we got our bikes and we were gone, and that was it. We had to make our own kind of thing that elsewhere that day. Whereas, like, you seem to make a whole weekend of it down there. You got a fair bunch doing that, not take anything away from Crest and Wang. So I really enjoyed that this year, and I can't compare it to Westport because I've never done Westport yet. But
and look,
it sounds like a phenomenal event.
Not to tell people what to do or whatever, but the bit I missed out on this morning was they go for a sea swim on the Sunday. That's our routine. We finish the weekend with a sea swim for the body, and they jump into the cold water and get the.
Well, you just put me off the whole thing. I'm definitely not doing it now. I'm going to find work till 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning and get away from it, because I'd rather do what you did and drive at 6 a.m. in the morning in the cold dark and fall asleep in a chair than go anywhere near a sea any time of the year, let alone November and in the weather conditions you guys had down there. I'm out.
Yeah, no, it is good, and it's hit and miss. Some years it's sunny. It didn't rain. It rained kind of in the morning. It was obviously very wet in the cloud and windy. But it was moderately okay. Me and Mark came across a bit of weather because we were out that long. Some probably never came across that.
Came across the 4 seasons.
Yeah, like we were an hour and a half after the lads, like, who we started with. So it was a long day. It was a very long day. But there was a bit, even for me, and it's always about lessons learned, is like, it wasn't about, I was very glad to go. So it meant I actually enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the experience with my brother. I've been trying to get him to do something with me for years and years and years. But the lesson I learned was it was about that resilience. Sometimes I kind of forget about it. I kind of forget where I was sometimes. And like, Quest gave me it this year again as a friendly reminder of what can happen and how bad it can go. But it was just a reminder of, how easily you can lose it if you just don't keep going.
But the flip side of it, it must be nice for you to finish, and you finished. You saw Mark recording the finish line, you got through, and you're just as proud of him and everything else. But it's the same distance. It sounds like what you did because Quest was 59k as well. I know there's a 1k kayak, but you did roughly the same thing, the same body. But the outcome of how you feel afterwards is completely different. In what's that, 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah,
and like the volume of stuff you done 6-7 months for how you felt at the start of April to doing your Malin to Mizenhead or Mizenhead to Malinhead track, the marathons and all the rest, and then straight after all that to be able to go and do this and feel good and be like, yeah, no, the body feels a bit tired, but the progress through those 6-7 months is class.
And the funny thing is, I feel like I haven't really trained well this year, and that's the funny thing, and it's a nice one to take into next year. It's like, what if I was actually consistent over a period of time on a good program? But like I said, like, they don't get any easier. You just get faster.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, as in, so that was my base level there with Mark. nice and easy. I was never going to hurt bad. And that was, I'd do that with anyone. I'd do it again tomorrow. It was really enjoyable day for me. Not so enjoyable for him. Had I still been with the guys from earlier, I could have been having a different day. I could have been pushing a bit harder and start to get the hunger knock, or, start worrying about getting fuel in and starting to sweat a bit more, starting to suffer a bit more, so it's a fine line. But for me, it's all about just enjoying it. And anyone who does it, just do it to enjoy it. It's kind of like everyone's like, oh, what time did you do it in? I was like, I don't know, because it's not a marathon. It's not a, like, okay, I might not have done it quicker or slower than last year, but I don't care about the race. Like, as in, I'm not here to set a personal best. I'm equally not here to win it. I'm just here for the weekend away and to do this challenge. And it is just a challenge. It's just to get people doing something, and it's absolutely brilliant. And it will push 80% of the people who do this beyond their limits. And that's even in the short course or the long course. And you can see it. You can see it on the faces of them as they're coming up the hill. Some people have met God at different places up that pilgrimage. And it is a pilgrimage. People are going to meet them at different places, and you can see it on their faces. And it's just, it's amazing. It is. It's absolutely brilliant. And obviously, the more training you do, the more enjoyment you have in getting around and stuff. But overall, now I have to say it's one of my favorite events. I would rather not do Quest and just keep doing Sea2Summit and just do my own little trail runs. I'd rather do trail runs on my cycles than pay big bucks for Quest and keep that. And the money I'd save. Sorry, I'm really going to hate on the Quest here thing just because of the price. And it's probably not their fault. In fairness, it's probably insurance and it's probably costings and etc. And I don't mean to lash on them, but the money I'd save from not doing the Quest pays for my entire weekend accommodation and food and stuff, but then I equally want to do Quest Glendalough again because I feel like there's some unfinished business there as well, so to hate them, it's a great race. It's a financial decision, and those who are facing them, there's definitely value for money.
Pick and choose.
There's definitely value for money there. Like it's really, really good. And the fact that so many people are doing it as well really, really helps that as well.
You're getting a night away, a weekend away, the boys and everything else, and you're getting so much from one event that it like the cycling, the run itself just seemed like a small portion of what you guys get to do that weekend, which is pretty cool. As opposed to a lot of other events where it's just literally that morning and then you're done for the rest of the day, or you're lying up on the couch, depending how hard you push. But I have absolutely nothing else to add in that. It sounds like a class day. If Mark is listening, Mark, you're a crazy bastard, but fair play to you for doing it. I don't know if I could have done it with that little energy on that awful bike you've had. And I've cycled some horrible pieces of crap bikes in the past. Thank you, Eric Lawless, for that one as well. So unless you've got anything else to add this week's episode of the podcast, we'll wrap it up there.
No, just wishing you best of luck on your event coming up next Sunday. We'll probably do a review episode. Yeah,
speaking of travel ones, we will talk about myself doing Run the Line next year, my year 2 doing it. So unlike for myself, my goal is basically still a little bit faster than last year. See how the body handles going up to that. But we'll talk about more next week when you're down under as well in Australia. So the podcast goes international again, but that's it for this week's episode of the podcast. That's it from myself and Aaron. Take care.
Bye.